Carrots are one of the most iconic crops in any vegetable garden, and one of the most commonly failed. Most gardeners sow the seeds, wait, and then conclude that carrots are simply too difficult. They are not difficult. They just have 6 specific requirements that most gardening guides never mention. Stacey Murphy is going to walk through all 6 right now. And once you know them, carrot germination becomes almost predictable.
Soils. And with carrots, thinning is completely essential. So turnips, radishes, they're a little bit more forgiving if they're a little bit crowded. But with carrots, there's something about them that's a little bit more hormonal. And if you don't thin them when they're just like an inch tall, a lot of times they won't grow in. You'll end up with a carrot that is a tiny thin root and 6 inches of greenery above, and it'll stay like that for months, and it won't grow in. And you may have thinned it, but you may have thinned it just too late. It's a very particular plant in terms of timing.
This Q&A was recorded at a past Grow Your Own Vegetables event, where Stacey Murphy reveals the 6 real reasons carrot seeds fail and exactly what to do about each one. For more information, free resources, and gentle guidance, you can find us at growyourownvegetables.org. And to grow alongside other gardeners just like you, join our free community at gyov.org.
The questions that I have are this one about, why are carrots hard to grow? Why we might choose different cover crops. A question about dwarf tomato plants that are larger than cherry tomatoes. Growing seedlings from cuttings, and some pest and disease questions. So those are the questions that I have so far. If you are live and you have a question and you didn't hear your question in there, I may have missed it. Sometimes I'm on Facebook and I want to grab questions from there and bring them here. So if you have a question that feels like it needs to be answered here, please let me know so I can work you into the mix tonight. And I'll get started with these for now. Okay, so not sure whose question this is, but the question is, why do so many people have problems getting a carrot harvest? Not greens, just carrots. Yeah, it's a good one. So I think these are the main 6 things that leads to carrots being hard to get a good harvest. So carrots are, it's funny because carrots are one of those crops that, it's like iconic to grow a carrot in your garden, so we all want to, but it's harder to grow a carrot than it is to grow a radish or to grow a turnip. Why is that? So the carrot family, typically the germination rates on that family are a little bit lower in general, that family. The seeds, I don't know why that is, why that family has a less germination rate, but it does. So also the carrot has, what I find is it usually says that it will germinate within 7 to 10 days, but a lot of times I find that it can take up to 21 days. It's kind of crazy. Like if the temperature is not right, we talk about the ideal temperature being 75 degrees for a lot of crops for them to germinate in the least amount of time. There's a relationship between the outdoor temperature, the soil temperature, and the number of days to germination, if you remember in Module 4. And with carrots, what we're doing a lot of times is we're planting them when it's colder than those temperatures. Sometimes it's as cold as like 40 degrees, 50 degrees. So what happens is it takes up to 21 days to germinate, and we get anxious and impatient because it's not germinating as quickly as we want, and you need constant moisture. And it's so hard to keep constant moisture for 3 weeks on a seed, right? So that's one reason why a lot of people fail, is that they can't get the carrots to germinate properly. And when you look at the data this way, you can understand why, right? And like I said, carrot seeds are prone to lower germination rates. Right out of the bag, the seed manufacturers will tell you that the germination rates for carrots are more like 75%. So
these 2 facts alone explain most carrot frustration. You were not failing. You were giving up before the seed had time to do what it was going to do anyway. wait the full 21 days.
So the seeds are not always viable. So that's another reason holding, people back. So it's taking a longer time, and the seeds sometimes are not as viable. Over time, carrots are a seed that tend to lose their germination rates faster than other seeds. So you might have lettuce seeds around for a couple of years, and the germination rate is still, 90%. But your carrot germination might go down to like 50%. So typically that happens as well. Now, carrots like loose, sandy soil, space for those roots to grow. So for some people, they might grow a tiny little bit of a carrot, and then their soil is just too compact, and the carrot has nowhere to go, so it has a hard time growing. So that's another reason why it's hard for people, especially people with clay soils.
Check your seed packet date before sowing, and if your soil is heavy, build a raised bed with loose, compost-rich mix, or choose a short-rooted variety like Chantenay.
Soils. And with carrots, thinning is completely essential. So turnips, radishes, they're a little bit more forgiving if they're a little bit crowded. But with carrots, there's something about them that's a little bit more hormonal. And if you don't thin them when they're just like an inch tall, a lot of times they won't grow in. You'll end up with a carrot that is a tiny, thin root and 6 inches of greenery above, and it'll stay like that for months, and it won't grow in. And you may have thinned it, but you may have thinned it just too late. It's a very particular plant in terms of timing.
Write this down. 1 inch. That is the window. Mark your calendar for 2 to 3 weeks after sowing. Thin to 1 carrot every 3 inches. Miss that moment, and the harvest is already compromised.
Timing. Heat can interrupt the maturity of the carrot. So oftentimes carrots are started in the spring and then they're harvested in the summer. But what happens is with the heat, the carrot tends to slow down and wants to stop growing. And so sometimes people are like, oh, my carrots are growing, my carrots are growing, my carrots are growing. And then all of a sudden you get a load of days that are like 90 degrees or 85 degrees. And all of a sudden your carrots do nothing, or worse, they become brittle, and they're just not as good. So carrots really like those cooler temperatures, and so right at the moment when they're starting to mature, the heat comes in and can sometimes get in the way of people's harvest. So oftentimes people have a better chance of fall carrots, but it's hard in fall to grow a carrot because you're trying to seed when it's really hot out. And so when those carrots are little babies, it might be 80 degrees and you're trying to keep them really cool. So on either end, the number of days that you need to grow a carrot can push you into a hot zone, making it hard to grow the carrot. And then patience is required all of this. And so for a lot of us, we want very easy crops. We want low maintenance crops. And carrots definitely want just the right kind of conditions. And so our patience is tried for sure. And if we have, if they have some issues growing in, then later we get frustrated and we tend not to try them again. So that's why I think that carrots are so tough for people to grow. So it looks like this might be Kathy's question. So that means, Kathy, that these next 4 questions are probably your questions as well. And so that might be the mystery solved. Let me know as I go through them. And if you're you might have asked this question because you have a lot of success growing carrots and you're not sure why you're having success and other people aren't, and you want to understand, is my life just easy? Do I just have the carrot, green thumb, or what? For some people, they're patient and they recognize that the carrot is special, wanting, a lot of days to germination, constant moisture, that it likes this loose sandy soil, that you got to thin them, you keep out of the heat. For a lot of people, if they know all of those things, then carrots seem really easy and they can't figure out why it's so hard for other people. So those are all the factors that I could think of off the top of my head. All right.
6 reasons. Fix any one and your germination improves. Fix all 6, and carrots become one of the most satisfying crops in your garden. Think about where you were at the start of this video. Carrot seeds sown, nothing coming up, assuming failure. Now, look at what you know. Only 75% of carrot seeds germinate. That is normal. Wait the full 21 days. Water gently twice a day and never let the surface dry. Use fresh seed every season. Prepare loose soil and thin at exactly 1 inch tall. Not before, not after, because that window does not come back. 6 reasons, 6 fixes. Carrots have been waiting for you to know this. You are not the gardener who fails at carrots anymore. You are the one who waits the full 21 days, who waters twice a day, who thins at exactly 1 inch, who buys fresh seed every season. If you want to keep learning from Stacey Murphy, there is a whole community of gardeners growing extraordinary food, completely free, at growyourownvegetables.org. This Q&A was recorded at a past Grow Your Own Vegetables event, and what Stacey just shared with you took her years of growing, failing, and figuring out to discover. Now imagine sitting down with 15 experts, exactly like her. 15 of the most respected gardeners, herbalists, and soil scientists on the planet, each sharing the single most powerful lesson they know, the insight that changed everything about how they grow food, the thing they wish someone had told them at the beginning. Clinical herbalists who can turn your garden into a medicine cabinet, soil scientists who will change how you see every handful of dirt, food growers who have fed entire communities from a backyard. All of it waiting for you right now, completely free at the Superfood Garden Summit. Go to growyourownvegetables.org/summit, register in 30 seconds, and start watching immediately.